Hello and welcome to another episode of Witchfinder's Gaming Vault, and in this episode I'm going to be taking a look at Astro Plumber for the BBC Micro and also Electron, as you can see from the case here. Let's take a look at the fact file for this one. And Astro Plumber was released in 1985 in the UK. It was published by Blue Ribbon and it was developed by Mike Williams. The price I paid for the game about a year ago was £2.55, and the current going rate on eBay, if you want to get yourself a copy, there's no recent sold items for the game, but there's copies available on there right now for about £5. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the packaging then. As I mentioned, this is the Electron version of the game. It's not really an issue for me because I'm not loading the game off the cassette anyway. I will load it off my SD card on the BBC Micro, but I would suspect that this Electron version would load on a Beeb anyway, unless there's some strange programming in there that's not compatible with the BBC. So anyway, as you can see, it's a pretty plain front cover in white with the Blue Ribbon logo, with the ribbons going around the screenshot of the game with a bow at the bottom there. Astro Plumber and Electron written in very plain black text, and there's a screenshot of the game to advertise it, so that's quite nice because not all games would get screenshots at this point. As you can see, some kind of platforming game. There's ladders in there, there's baddies moving around, there's things like that going on the screen there. So the spine, even more boring than the front. It just says Astro Plumber and Electron on it in black text on a white background. And then on the back there, you've also got the address for Blue Ribbon Software, who are based in Doncaster, South Yorkshire. And that's it for the outside of the packaging. Here's the cassette for the game, and the label is stuck on both sides. It's a white label with Blue Ribbon printed on it quite nicely, and then the name of the game sort of printed on it probably after the fact, with a pretty boring sort of printer type font on there. And there's also information about how to load the game and what system it's on and things like that. So let's move on to the instructions, which are just a single page on the inlay. It says, you are the maintenance man arrived from Earth. Your task is to repair leaking air pipes in caverns under the moon's surface, which supply the scientists of Colony 11, a research station. There are inhabitants of underground caverns which are indestructible, so must be avoided. To help you avoid them, you're wearing a jetpack, enabling you to fly over them. But what's your fuel supply? You can press the return key to take off and again to land. You can't use the jetpack on the surface. To repair the pipes, you're carrying a plasma laser, which when fired underneath the pipe engulfs the leak and seals it. And this also drains your fuel supply, so use with care. If you leave a screen without repairing all the leaks, on returning to that screen all the leaks will appear again, and the air tanks on the moon's surface can be used to replenish your air supply by plugging into them. Your air indicator will show how much air you have. Caution, do not overfill. The game ends if you run out of air, fuel or lives, and with every screen you complete an extra life is gained. You lose a life if you come into contact with any inhabitants, so be warned. On certain screens there are transport pads. You stand on the pad and press space, and then you'll be transported to the transporter directly above or below you. When the pressure indicator is full, that round is completed and a bonus will be added to your score, and the next round then increases speed, making it harder to complete. It's then got the control keys. As you can see, we've got the BBC Micro standard of Z and X for left and right, an asterisk and question mark for up and down. Also got shift to fire, return to use the jetpack, and also keys for switching the sound on and off, and also pausing and unpausing the game. And that is it for the instructions, so let's load the game up and check it out. Okay, so as is typical for BBC Micro games, Astro Plumber's got instructions and control information on a series of pages before you load the game up properly. So as you can see, it's got the controls here. This is all the same stuff that was in the instruction manual, so I'm not going to dwell on it for too long. So you've got the controls there, including the ones to pause and unpause the game and also turn the sound on and off. You've then got several pages of information, which is exactly the same information that's in the inlay of the cassette, so I'm just going to skip through those pretty quickly. And you've got a nice Blue Ribbon Software Presents Astro Plumber sort of title screen there, very nicely done, with a sort of cycling colour on the logo for Astro Plumber. But it's now gone on to the proper title screen for the game, which is also obviously says Astro Plumber and also cycles through a number of colours, but it's done in a kind of pipework kind of design. So as you can see, Astro Plumber was by Mike Williams, and it says press return to start. So I should probably do that. So you begin at the top of the screen, and the idea on each level is to plug all the gaps where the air is leaking out of the pipes. And you do that randomly by shooting them. At the top here you can see 2 air tanks, and you can walk onto those. You can see the air is already diminishing, and that is a problem in the game that will present itself pretty quickly, I'm sure. But if you walk close to the air tanks, then you can fill them up. But if you overfill them, then you explode and lose a life. So you've got to be careful there as well. So it's a platforms and ladders game. There's not really jumping. You've got a jetpack that you can activate. So this is how you plug a gap, by shooting it with a laser, which is a bit random. So what I've found from playing it a few times is, firstly, it's very hard. And there's the jetpack. So you press return to activate the jetpack, and then you press it again to deactivate it, and you can move left and right as you see fit. As you can see, my air's already more than halfway down. There's no dwelling around on this, and the problem is you've got to get all... Nope, wrong button. It's return to activate the jetpack, and it's shift to fire. I'm going to run out of air before I get back. Getting back to the top to clear those air tanks, or to refill them, sorry, it is difficult. I don't think I'm going to make it, because I suspect this enemy here is going to... Yeah, I'm going to run out of here. There you go. Either the enemy killed me or I ran out of air. Oh, okay, I ran out of air. I guess that was game over then. I literally didn't get any more lives for some reason. Harsh. Let's go again. And obviously I'm going to move a bit more quickly around the level this time, because of that air diminishing all the time. The problem is you have to do a lot of waiting on ladders for enemies to come past you, and while you're doing that, all your air's going. So what I'm trying to do is get the 3 on the right hand side of the screen. You've also got to time your jetpack movement so that you don't crash into one of the enemies as it jumps, which has actually gone better than I thought it would so far. I think you move faster with the jetpack on, but it's a little erratic with the movement, so I've really got to try and get back to the top, and it's going to be close again. I think I'm going to make it though. So you've then got to refill your air, making sure you don't overfill it, and then get back down. Oh, and getting on and off the ladders, if you've not got your timing right, is a bit of a problem as well. Ooh. I don't know whether I can get everything and not have to go up and refill on air again. Let's see how I get on. As I say, a lot of waiting around. Ooh. You've got to time the positioning for shooting the air leaks just right as well. Okay, so that's cleared all the leaks on one screen, and then you move on to the next screen. And there's lots of screens. Well, I say there's lots of screens, but this is as far as I've got, because when I played it before, I just kept getting killed. Oh, these ones jump differently. They stay in the air longer, so you've got to time everything a little bit differently. Looks like you could just go straight across to the right here, so I'm going to do that. So, it's a tough game. These are teleporters, I think. Where's that sent me? Oh, up to the top there. Oh, that's useful, because I can refill my air now. Oh no, it's just run out. And that's game over again. So yeah, you run out of air, it's immediately game over. Well, that was really annoying. Okay, but I've got my name in the high score table, which is a first. Unfortunately, this means I've got to play it right from the beginning again. So while I'm doing that, I will try and talk about the graphics. I'm going to try and get around these levels as quickly as I can. So yeah, graphics are actually pretty nice. I know BBC Micro has got a limited number of colours, especially in this graphics mode. The number of colours it has is 4. Oh no, that's a fail, because it didn't activate the jetpack for some reason. So yeah, just 4 colours. Or is there 5 actually? Actually, this is a multicolour mode, but I'd associate this with being mode 2 or mode 5. Which normally only allows 4 colours, so I think there might be something clever going on, because you can quite clearly see some green at the top there, and also we've got blue. Nope, that's terrible again. Blue, yellow, red, and also cyan by the looks of it. So yeah, maybe I'm mixed up with me graphics modes, but that's gone really badly. I'm down to my last life already. So graphics are pretty nice, as I say. Everything's drawn quite nicely. The animation's reasonably good on your character. Sound is pretty poor. It's just some beeps, isn't it? But overall, it looks... I know it's done it again. 3 times I've hit that enemy. Yep, okay. What I'm going to do now is stop the recording, try and get past the first screen, and then start it again, because you've probably already seen enough of that. It's that time again where I say thank you to all my channel members, whose names you can see here in my Supporters Hall of Fame. If you're enjoying this video and would like to join these fine folks and support my efforts, why not become a member yourself? For a monthly fee starting from just 99p, you can get access to the special membership perks shown on screen, and more besides. If you're interested, then please click on the join button below this video for more information. Okay, so I've just completed the first screen again. There's been a couple of times where I've lost a bunch of lives stupidly as well, so let's not dwell on that. So I'm going to go up here and try and get the air from up here. Shouldn't be too bad. I've nearly run out though again. It's pretty tough. Can't make many mistakes. But I got there, so I'm going to give myself a bit more leeway. I just have to try not to run into a load of enemies now. You do get an extra life when you complete each screen, so that's nice. I'm just going to stay here actually for now. And you can see that there's a pressure gauge at the bottom that's gone up. That's because I've managed to complete the first level. First screen, I should say. There's obviously multiple screens in the level. Oh, that was close. Timing those jetpack moves is key to making any progress in this game. And also, oh no, I got it wrong then. Also understanding, and yeah, understanding how the enemies are going to jump is what I was going to say. You saw one of the problems in the game there, which is that quite often you can die and enemies will you'll respawn just when an enemy comes into contact with you, and you've got no chance to get away from that, so that's super annoying. But I'm actually quite close to getting through this level. I'm going to have to move now. I'm going to have to go back up and get more air, and then I should be able to... I've actually got all the vents blasted, so all I've got to do is get back down. Okay, so I've got plenty of air. That's just the one actually, isn't it? There's just the one to get there, so I just have to wait here a bit for safety. Get the one here. There we go, and that's another screen. So it looks like there's 4 screens to get through. The teleporters, by the way, you press space to teleport. I may as well go and top up on air again. So I've got 2 lives now, so that's nice. So yeah, you can use that to go and top up on air, but that's basically all you can use it for. Yeah, I can't get that. Oh, let's go there. What happened there? Oh, see, that's bad collision detection again. The enemy went over me just before I teleported. Oh no, hang on. I'm not going to be able to get past this, am I? No, that's going to be another life gone, and that's game over. So on that stage, clearly you've got to work out when to use the teleporters to completely avoid the enemies. You can't get past them. Anyway, I got the top score, and I'm not going to play again because it's a tough game and I don't want to play it anymore. It's actually not that bad. I think if it had a bit more generosity with the air limit... By the way, actually, let's start another game. Watch this. So let me just stand here for a bit for the air to go down. If the air didn't go down so quickly, so you had to keep going and replenishing it, and it was a bit more responsive to the return key when you're trying to activate the jetpack, I think it's got the makings of quite a good game. It's quite an interesting idea, not something I think are exactly the same. Super Pipeline, I guess, is a little bit similar on the Commodore 64. But anyway, if I walk into this air thing and let it fill to the top, as I mentioned, it blows you up. But then look what happens when you respawn. Oh look, because you stood right next to it, it fills you up again and just kills you again. It's like ridiculous. There's no need for that, is there? So there's some pretty nasty design if you get things wrong, you can get them really badly wrong, like respawning where an enemy's just about to land and things like that. But having said that, there's something about it that I think is okay. Having said that, I will almost certainly never play it again. And I don't know if it's even worth trying to sell the thing, but I don't actually ever load the cassettes or have any affinity towards them anyway on the BBC Micro, so I'll probably sell it. So there you go. That was it. That was Astro Plumber. If you've ever played it before, or you've got any thoughts about it, having seen my playthrough, which was pretty short, then let me know in the video comments. Thanks very much for watching this video, and this is going to be it for Witchfinder's Gaming Vault for a little while. I'm going to have a break from this series, and when I come back, I'm going to be doing some polls on my channel. Some of them will be for members only, and some of them will be for all subscribers, where you get to choose all the games, or at least the majority of games, that I'm going to play in the next sort of season, if you like, of Witchfinder's Gaming Vault. So I'll be putting up pictures of games that I've got in my collection and asking you to tell me 2 or 3 that you like from them, and then the ones that get the most votes will end up being in the pile for me to play, and then I'll deal with them in the way I normally do, which is to select one at random and then play it and then select another one and so on. So that's what's going to be happening in the fairly near future, but I'm probably going to take maybe a month's break from this series and do some other things. So until the next episode of this, if this is all you watch, or the next video on my channel, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you.